The grid goes down on a Tuesday, not with a bang, not with sirens or dramatic announcements, just a soft click, the hum of your refrigerator stopping mid-cycle, the ceiling fan winding down to silence, the router's blinking lights going dark one by one, like eyes closing. And then nothing. Just the sound of your own breathing in a house that suddenly feels very, very different. Most people, in that first hour, are not afraid. They are inconvenienced. They light a candle, check their phone, scroll for news. They assume it will be fixed by morning. It will not be fixed by morning. And here is the truth that most people are never willing to sit with long enough for it to matter. The difference between the households that come out of something like this intact, physically strong, mentally functional, still a family in any real sense, and the ones that fracture under the pressure is almost never about how much food they had stored. It is about whether they understood what kind of food actually sustains human beings through genuine crisis. Most emergency food plans have a catastrophic structural flaw buried inside them, a gap that is invisible in the calm of ordinary life and devastating in the chaos of an actual collapse. It has nothing to do with calorie counts or expiration dates. It is deeper than that. It lives in the intersection of nutrition, psychology, and the raw mechanics of survival cooking when your infrastructure has been stripped away. What follows is a countdown of the foods that close that gap. Some of them are cheap enough that you would not look twice on a grocery run. And some have been keeping populations alive through the worst moments in human history. Almost none of them appear on the standard preparedness lists that float around the internet. Pay attention. When the grid goes down, what is in your pantry is the only plan you have left. Number 15. Breakfast cereal. Most serious preparedness discussions skip past this one with a dismissive gesture. Too ordinary, too processed, not dramatic enough for the post-collapse aesthetic. They are wrong. The most common emergency scenario people actually face is not a multi-month grid-down collapse. It is 48 to 72 hours of disruption, a severe storm, a regional supply chain failure, a short power outage that stretches longer than anyone expected. And for those scenarios, the most likely scenarios, and the ones your household will statistically encounter far more often than civilizational collapse, there is no better food than one that requires absolutely nothing from you. Open the container, eat, done. In the first hours of any genuine crisis, your brain is already running at maximum capacity, processing information, managing fear, making decisions, keeping other people functional. Adding a meal that requires fuel, water, preparation, and cleanup to that cognitive load is a tax you do not need to pay. Breakfast cereal pays it for you. Most commercial varieties are also fortified with iron, B vitamins, and vitamin D. Not a complete nutritional solution, but a meaningful bridge during the window before more substantial cooking becomes feasible. 2 or 3 sealed containers of something your household already enjoys. Day 1 coverage. Nothing on this list does that job more efficiently. Number 14. Bouillon cubes. Close your eyes for a moment and picture it. Day 10. The emergency is ongoing. Nobody is going hungry in a caloric sense. You planned for that, the beans are there, the rice is there. But something invisible has been happening since around day 4. A creeping gray quality to every meal. Every bowl the same. Every bite an act of mechanical sustenance rather than anything resembling pleasure. Morale does not collapse dramatically. It drains, slowly, quietly, almost imperceptibly, until one evening someone pushes a bowl away, half-eaten, and nobody has the energy to argue about it. And then it starts happening more. And then the fog descends. Not hunger exactly, but a deeper fatigue. A kind of emotional rationing that begins leaking into decision-making and patience, and the quality of relationships under pressure. This is the gap bouillon cubes close. Drop 1 into hot water. A column of steam rises. The smell of savory broth fills the space, and something shifts. It is neurological. The human brain is wired to respond to aromatic complexity as a signal that a real, nourishing meal is incoming. Mood tightens. People eat. Plain rice becomes the base of a soup that tastes intentional. Boiled lentils become something someone might actually want. Bouillon also contributes sodium and trace minerals. During sustained physical and psychological stress, electrolyte balance is not a comfort issue. It is a physiological one. Sodium depletion produces fatigue, headache, and cognitive fog in ways that are easily mistaken for demoralization. but have a purely biochemical origin. Individually wrapped, fully dehydrated, infinitely compact, absurdly cheap. Move them out of cardboard packaging, moisture will ruin them. A sealed mason jar with a silica gel packet is all they need. One small box. Dozens of meals transformed. Never go without them. If this information is hitting home, share it, like it, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Every piece of engagement puts this in front of someone who might genuinely need it. Number 13. Instant mashed potatoes. The infrastructure of normal cooking is invisible until it is gone. The electrical stove that requires a functioning grid. The propane burner that runs out faster than anyone anticipated. The cooking time of 30, 40, was 60 minutes that demands fuel you cannot afford to burn at that rate across 3 meals a day for 3 weeks. Instant mashed potatoes require hot water in approximately 2 minutes. That is not a convenience. In a fuel-rationed environment, that is the difference between eating and not eating when your stove runs low. But the underestimation of instant potato flakes runs deeper than preparation time. They are a thickening agent for thin soups and stews. A spoonful stirred into watery broth turns it into something genuinely filling. They can substitute partially for flour and flatbread dough. They coat pan-fried foods for texture. One ingredient, multiple applications across entirely different meal categories. Nutritionally, potassium, vitamin C, vitamin B6, dietary fiber. And the soft texture matters specifically for young children and elderly individuals. The two populations most likely to refuse eating under stress-related appetite suppression. Commercially sealed canisters hold quality for anywhere from 5 to 25 years depending on packaging. Stack several. Treat them as a kitchen tool, not a side dish. Number 12. Dried spices. Military nutrition researchers, not lifestyle bloggers, not wellness influencers, but actual operational military scientists, classify meal variety as a strategic priority. The reason is documented, measurable, and sobering. Monotonous food, even when calorically adequate, suppresses appetite. When appetite suppresses, intake drops. When intake drops below what the body needs for sustained physical and cognitive performance, the decline is not just discomfort. When it is functional degradation, slower reaction times, worse decision-making, increasing irritability, deteriorating group cohesion. This is how food-related morale failure has contributed to the collapse of military units throughout history. Not starvation, monotony. Dried spices are the most calorie-efficient, space-efficient, weight-efficient tool for fighting that collapse that exists. A small jar of garlic powder can meaningfully season dozens of individual meals. Cumin transforms a pot of lentils from something a person tolerates into something they might actually want again tomorrow. Paprika adds visual warmth and aromatic complexity to flat, pale dishes. Turmeric carries anti-inflammatory properties documented across decades of pharmacological research. And alongside a color that signals richness and substance even in the simplest preparation. Critical operational note, spices fade. The aromatic compounds that carry flavor degrade when exposed to heat, light, and oxygen. A clear jar of pre-ground spice sitting on a sunlit counter is losing potency every single day. Whole seeds, ground just before use, retain strength dramatically longer. Airtight dark glass containers in a cool location extend effective life to 3 to 5 years or beyond. If you could select only 3, garlic powder, black pepper, cumin. Those 3 create more meal variation across more ingredient combinations than nearly any other trio at comparable cost and weight. Number 11, canned sardines. Every conversation about emergency protein follows the same well-worn path. Beans, lentils, canned tuna. The familiar trio, well, not recited by rote. But there is an animal protein source that outperforms everything else in the canned category across nearly every metric simultaneously, and most people walk past it in the grocery store without a glance. Canned sardines are fully cooked by the canning process. 0 preparation required. 0 fuel. Open the lid, and the protein is ready. In a fuel ration scenario, that operational advantage is not minor. A standard 120 gram can contain complete protein, all 9 essential amino acids, plus omega-3 fatty acids supporting cardiovascular and neurological function. Here is the detail most people never learn. Because sardines are eaten whole, including their bones, which are completely softened during canning, they are also a meaningful source of dietary calcium. And almost nothing else in a standard emergency pantry addresses calcium. Most people building a food supply never think about it until someone's body starts making the absence known through muscle cramps and increasing fragility. The oil in an oil-packed can is additional value. Stirred into cooked rice or pasta, it adds caloric density and a rich, savory quality that dramatically improves the base meal. Rotate them into your regular diet now. Familiarity before emergency is a form of preparation that most lists never mention. Number 10, nutritional yeast. It looks like nothing. Small yellow flakes with a slightly medicinal appearance. Most people who have never encountered it have no idea whether it is a seasoning, a supplement, or something from a laboratory. It is both of the first two simultaneously in a single inexpensive container. Here is the crisis that begins unfolding around day 7 to 10 of any extended emergency built primarily on grains and legumes. B, vitamin depletion, specifically the complex of B12, B6, thiamine, riboflavin, and niacin, the metabolic engines of cellular energy production, neurological signaling, and immune maintenance. When these nutrients run low, the symptoms mimic exhaustion and psychological distress so precisely that almost nobody identifies them as nutritional in origin. Fatigue accelerates. Mental clarity softens into fog. Mood deteriorates in ways that feel like circumstantial despair, but have a biochemical root. People blame the emergency. They blame each other. They do not think to blame the food. Nutritional yeast closes this gap. A complete B vitamin complex, one including B12, rarely found outside animal products, alongside plant-based protein and trace minerals including zinc and selenium. And here is the element that makes it genuinely exceptional. It tastes like mild-aged cheese, rich, slightly savory, with a depth that improves almost anything it touches. Sprinkle it on hot rice, stir it into soup, mix it into porridge. It makes the food better while simultaneously addressing a nutritional gap that most emergency supplies leave completely undefended. Two complete jobs. One lightweight, affordable canister. Almost nothing on this entire list delivers a comparable ratio of benefit to cost and storage footprint. Number 9, popcorn kernels. The surprise entry, the one that generates the most skepticism in the first 3 seconds and the most agreement once people think it through. Dried corn, whether properly sealed and protected from moisture, can maintain its ability to pop for decades. Archaeological recovery of ancient dried corn kernels that still retain popping capability has been documented. Almost no other food product makes a remotely comparable storage claim without significant qualification. But shelf life is not even the primary argument. There are 2 distinct operational profiles layered inside a single bag of popcorn kernels. Profile 1, cover a pot, apply any heat source, high-volume carbohydrate food in minutes, no electricity, no special equipment, minimal fuel consumption, done. Profile 2, grind the kernels coarsely and cook into polenta, a thick, filling grain porridge that has sustained populations across multiple continents for centuries. Different meal type entirely, different nutrient absorption profile. A different texture, different satiety profile, different population appeal, same bag of kernels. And then there is the dimension that disaster psychology research actually documents. Familiar comfort foods have measurable positive effects on morale during extended crisis, particularly for children. Popcorn carries an association with normalcy so deep it is practically neurological. A bowl of it, even in a candlelit room in a darkened house in the middle of something terrible, delivers a moment that signals, we are still okay. This still exists. Do not underestimate that signal. In the right moment, it is worth more than its calories. You are halfway through. If this has been useful, drop a comment with which one surprised you most, give this a like, and subscribe so you catch the rest of the series. It genuinely helps. However, number 8, powdered eggs. When refrigeration disappears, fresh eggs have a countdown attached to them. At room temperature, under ideal conditions, perhaps 2 to 3 weeks. In the fluctuating temperatures of a summer power outage, far less. And once they are gone, something specific disappears from the nutritional landscape that is very difficult to replace from any other stored source. Complete protein, essential fatty acids, fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. Choline, the compound most critical for neurological function and cognitive performance, found in meaningful concentrations in almost nothing that does not require refrigeration. Powdered eggs close this window without refrigeration. Spray dried to remove moisture while preserving nutritional content. Stored in sealed oxygen-removed containers, they remain viable for 5 to 10 years or longer. Reconstituted with water, they function equivalently to beaten fresh eggs in virtually every application. Scrambled in a pan, stirred as an egg drop into broth, bound into flatbread dough, mixed into pancake batter. For households with children, there is a dimension of this that deserves its own emphasis. Under stress, children retreat hard toward familiar foods. They refuse the unfamiliar with an intensity that is not stubbornness. It is a fear response. Scrambled eggs are known, safe, accepted. The ability to produce them from stored powder is simultaneously a nutritional strategy and a psychological one. This is one of the only stored foods that genuinely replicates a fresh ingredient with high fidelity. It belongs in any supply that aspires to real cooking capability rather than mere caloric survival. Number 7. Dried split peas. No soaking, no technique, no special equipment, no culinary knowledge required beyond the ability to maintain a low simmer and keep water in a pot. Split peas, given sufficient water, heat, and time, dissolve into themselves. They break down completely without any intervention, producing a thick, naturally creamy soup that requires nothing added to be filling, nutritious, and genuinely satisfying. This is not a property shared by any other common dried legume. It is unique to the split pea, and in a scenario where simplicity is survival, uniqueness of this magnitude matters. One large pot serves multiple people across multiple portions, which directly addresses fuel conservation in ways that single-serving cooking cannot. A brief soak the night before, not required but helpful, shortens the active boiling window when fuel is being rationed by the cup. Protein. Dietary fibers substantial enough to produce satiety that outlasts the meal by hours. Complex carbohydrates. B vitamins. Iron. A complete meal from a single dried ingredient that costs almost nothing and stores for years. When conditions are at their worst, infrastructure gone, morale low, fuel running short, split peas are what you cook. One pot, everyone eats, one fire. Number 6. Dried lentils. Most households that have given emergency food any thought at all have dried beans somewhere. They feel like preparedness. They look like planning. What most people have never tested is what happens when you actually try to cook dried kidney beans or black beans without access to your normal kitchen infrastructure. 8 to 12 hours of soaking, which requires cold water you may not have to spare, and planning in an environment that does not reward planning. Then 1 to 2 hours of active rolling boil, consuming cooking fuel at a rate that, multiplied across 3 meals a day over 3 weeks, represents a fuel budget most people have not come close to accounting for. In a fuel-rationed environment, that cost compounds into genuine strategic failure. Lentils require no soaking, rinsed directly into boiling water, fully edible in 20 to 30 minutes. That single characteristic, no soaking, short cooking time, translates into fuel savings that compound with every single meal for the entire duration of an emergency. It is not a small advantage. Over 3 weeks of multiple meals per day, it is potentially the difference between a cooking fuel supply that holds and one that runs out at the worst possible moment. 1 cup cooked, approximately 18 grams of complete protein when paired with any grain. Iron, folate, potassium. The amino acid combination of lentils plus any grain forms a complete protein equivalent to animal sources. A nutritional solution that appeared independently across dozens of cultures on every inhabited continent throughout thousands of years of food history. That convergence is not cultural coincidence. It is evidence of something that genuinely, repeatedly, demonstrably works. Our cost per gram of protein, nearly unbeatable. Fuel efficiency, nearly unbeatable. Preparation simplicity, nearly unbeatable. This is the foundation of any serious emergency food supply. Not an afterthought, a cornerstone. Number 5, white distilled vinegar. Unlike almost everything else on this list, vinegar carries a characteristic that places it in a category that nothing else here can fully claim. It will not change, ever. The acetic acid concentration that defines vinegar creates a chemical environment so hostile to spoilage organisms that the bottle you buy today will be chemically identical in 3 decades. No rotation necessary, no expiration date that means anything. Buy it, store it, forget about it until the moment it becomes essential. But the permanence is almost secondary to the functional versatility. And the flavor profile of a standard emergency pantry, however well-stocked, is almost entirely missing one dimension: brightness, the sharp, clean, acidic bite that makes simple food feel complete rather than flat, that signals to the palate that a meal is finished, balanced, intentional rather than improvised. Nothing in a grain and legume heavy supply naturally provides this. Vinegar does in a single splash. Then there is the preservation application. When fresh vegetables become available during an extended disruption, from a garden producing through the crisis, from foraging, from a neighbor's surplus that arrived all at once and cannot be consumed before it turns, vinegar converts that window of abundance into extended supply through pickling. Without it, that window closes in days. With it, it extends into weeks or months. Multiple bottles of white distilled vinegar, no special storage requirements, never needs replacing, and the only thing in your pantry capable of preserving other food when refrigeration is permanently unavailable. Number 4, duck fat or rendered animal fat. Here is the structural flaw at the center of nearly every emergency food plan built by someone who did not think it all the way through. Fat. Most standard preparedness frameworks are built almost entirely around carbohydrates: rice, beans, oats, pasta, wheat. These are essential. Nobody argues otherwise. But this architecture quietly creates a macronutrient profile that is dangerously deficient in the nutrient the human body most urgently needs during sustained stress, sustained physical exertion, and restricted food supply. Fat is the most calorie-dense macronutrient available. In 9 calories per gram compared to 4 from carbohydrate or protein. A small amount delivers disproportionate energy when rations are limited, but the function of dietary fat extends far beyond calorie delivery. Fat supports brain function. The brain is approximately 60% fat by dry weight and requires consistent dietary fat to maintain myelin sheaths and neurotransmitter synthesis. Fat regulates hormonal production, including the stress hormones that will be running hard during a genuine crisis. Fat manages core body temperature. Fat enables absorption of fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K, that are simply not bioavailable without it. A diet chronically deficient in fat produces fatigue, cognitive decline, mood instability, hormonal disruption, real, measurable, or functional impairments in the people you are counting on to make good decisions under pressure. Duck fat, and other rendered animal fats such as lard or beef tallow, stores in sealed glass jars away from heat and light for months without refrigeration and significantly longer with any cooling at all. The stability of rendered animal fat was not discovered by modern preppers. Before refrigeration existed, European civilizations used it as a preservation medium, slow cooking meat and submerging it in rendered fat to hold it through months of winter. This technique was not a choice. It was survival, refined across centuries. A jar of duck fat stirred into plain cooked rice is not just a flavor upgrade. It is the difference between a meal that satisfies and one that leaves the body still searching for something it cannot name. Do not build a food supply around carbohydrates alone and believe you have covered the macronutrient landscape. You have left the most energy-dense category of human nutrition almost entirely unaddressed. Like, comment, subscribe. It keeps the information reaching the people who need it most. Drop your thoughts below. Number 3, ghee. If duck fat closes the fat deficiency gap from one direction, ghee closes it from another and brings a storage stability that places it in a category almost nothing else can match. Ghee is butter that has been cooked beyond clarification. Regular butter contains fat, water, and milk proteins. Clarified butter removes most of the milk solids. Ghee continues until virtually all remaining moisture and milk protein is eliminated, leaving a substance that is almost purely butter fat in composition. Even the spoilage mechanisms that make dairy products fragile depend on 2 things: moisture and lactose. Ghee contains vanishingly small quantities of either. The biological processes that cause regular butter to go rancid within weeks at room temperature simply cannot operate in ghee's chemical environment. This is not a marketing claim. It is basic food chemistry. Properly sealed in glass jars, stored away from heat and direct light, ghee holds quality at room temperature without refrigeration for months, and significantly longer in any cooler environment. In a prolonged power outage where refrigeration is gone, that stability is not a nice feature. It is the entire point. A single spoonful stirred into plain cooked rice transforms the meal structurally. Calories increase substantially. The slightly nutty, rich, and barely sweet dairy quality of ghee, different from any neutral cooking oil, creates a flavor satisfaction that signals completeness in a way that pure carbohydrates never achieve on their own. The smoke point of approximately 250 degrees Celsius makes ghee more suitable than regular butter for high-heat improvised cooking, where temperature control is imprecise and the risk of burning is constant. Ghee and duck fat solve the same fundamental gap from different flavor profiles. Keep both. Use small quantities with purpose. Never run an emergency food supply without at least one of them. Number 2, salt before refrigeration, before canning, before any preservation technology that a modern person would recognize. There was salt. For the overwhelming majority of recorded human history, the ability to store food across seasons, so to feed armies through campaigns that outlasted the harvest, to sustain populations through droughts that went on for years, all of it depended on a single variable: access to salt. Roman soldiers received a portion of their pay in it. The Latin root of the word salary is sal, which means salt. Medieval trade routes organized themselves geographically around salt production centers. Wars were fought over it. Empires built their economic power partially upon it. Entire populations were held in political subjugation by controlling access to it. Today it sits in a shaker on the dining table, so absurdly abundant that nobody thinks about it. But its importance has not diminished. Only its scarcity has. In an emergency food context, salt operates across 3 distinct and separate categories of value. The first is flavor. Our salt is the single most fundamental flavor enhancement known to cooking. Without it, every stored grain, every legume, every rehydrated ingredient tastes flat and aversive. Appetite suppression from flavorless food compounds quickly into real intake deficits. The second is preservation. Salt inhibits bacterial and fungal growth through osmosis, drawing water out of microbial cells and creating an environment they cannot survive. Salt-cured meat, vegetables fermented in brine, ancient techniques with direct practical application when refrigeration is unavailable and the window of fresh food is closing fast. The third, and the one almost universally overlooked, is physiological necessity. Sodium is an essential electrolyte. It regulates fluid balance across cell membranes. It enables nerve signal transmission. Oxide is required for functional muscle contraction. During physical exertion, heat exposure, or the sustained physiological stress of a genuine emergency, all of which will be present simultaneously, sodium depletion becomes a real medical event, not an inconvenience, a crisis within a crisis. Storage characteristic: salt does not expire, not approximately, not with some degradation. Chemically, exactly, identically. A sealed container purchased today will be chemically indistinguishable from itself in 50 years. Store significantly more than you think you need. It is simultaneously a seasoning agent, a preservation technology, and a physiological requirement that cannot be substituted or circumvented. Number 1, whole wheat berries. Every item on this list solves a specific problem, addresses a specific gap, closes a specific vulnerability in the architecture of long-term nutritional survival. This one is what all of them are built around. For approximately 10,000 years, not decades, not centuries, but 10 millennia, wheat has been the single most foundational food source in human civilization. This is not metaphor or sentiment. It is historical record backed by archaeological evidence across every inhabited continent and every major human culture that has ever existed. Nomadic populations became settled communities because wheat could be stored. Cities became possible because wheat could be stockpiled in quantities large enough to support dense populations through seasons without harvest. Armies sustained campaigns across months and continents because wheat could be dried, sealed, and carried. Mass populations survived droughts measured in years because wheat could be harvested in abundance and held for the lean seasons ahead. That 10,000-year record is not an argument from tradition. It is evidence of something that has been tested against every form of crisis the human species has encountered: famine, war, plague, climate collapse, civilizational disruption, and emerged intact on the other side, stored in sealed containers with oxygen absorbers in cool, dry conditions. Whole wheat berries hold their quality and germination capacity for 25 years or more. In basic sealed buckets without oxygen absorbers, a decade or longer. Among the longest verified storage lives of any food product known, the culinary versatility is unmatched by any single ingredient on this list. Wheat berries can be cooked whole, like a denser, a heartier version of rice, ground into flour with a hand mill, and a simple hand mill is not expensive. They produce the base ingredient for bread, flatbreads, crackers, pasta, and porridge. Sprouted over 3 to 4 days in a jar of water, they dramatically increase vitamin C content and digestibility in a way raw grain cannot provide. A transformation from basic carbohydrate source to something approaching a living food, still functional in the middle of collapse. One ingredient, dozens of distinct meal types, every food culture in the world, 10,000 years of demonstrated reliability, nutritionally complex carbohydrates for sustained energy that does not spike and crash, meaningful dietary fiber, moderate plant-based protein, B vitamins in substantial concentration, iron, magnesium, zinc. And here is what ties everything that came before it into coherence. Every other item on this list performs best when it has something to work with. Nutritional yeast needs a bowl to sprinkle over. Ghee needs a base to enrich. Bouillon needs something to become broth around. Spices need something to transform. Vinegar needs something to brighten. Whole wheat berries are that something. The foundation, the base layer from which every other item on this list operates. Without it, most of the tools above have nothing to anchor to. With it, all of them become multiplicatively more powerful. Sealed containers, oxygen absorbers, cool dry storage. If you build only one deep, serious pantry staple, build it here. Everything else on this list makes it better. Whole wheat berries make all of them